Everybody, welcome to Set the Pipe. I am Sully, and of course, we have CK and we have Bear. Today, we have a legend, Chris McGee. Geeter, I can go on and on and on about what this guy has done. He was a teammate of Coley Kyman at Northridge.
Yes, he was.
Spectacular career there at Northridge. And everybody who's ever watched the AVP has known Geeter as the announcer for a number of years. He has gone on and won 2 Grammys. Is that correct, Chris McGee?
Yeah, I've lost a lot. 1, 2.
1, 2, and now he is part of the Lakers show right now. So that's where everybody's going to know Chris McGee. But we have him on because he has stories upon stories. He is a wonderful person. Let me put that out there before he starts talking, because he's just like Coley and we can't get them to both to shut up. So I'm letting everybody know that this guy married, kids, and still in the sport of volleyball. Love him to death. Chris Geeter McGee, welcome to Set the Pipe, brother.
Wow, boys. What an honor. I feel like, how long you guys been up and running? This is, how long?
Since January, beginning of January.
Officially a couple years.
You're hurting for guests, huh?
Yeah,
we're already hurting for guests.
Yes. Well,
we had to go to the bottom of the barrel.
Coley had to talk us into it because he's like, listen, you guys got Long Beach State guys on there. We got to get Northridge guys on here. So that was kind of
funny to me. I mean, you started out with a lot of big dogs, and obviously you started losing momentum. You said, you know what, well, we can always get Geeter. So I appreciate it, because I feel like, your loyal listeners are probably going, why is there a backup setter, a career backup setter, except for Columbia when Bear and I won gold together? Why is a career backup setter on Set the Pipe within the first 3 months? But
hey, man, you wore USA. I didn't get to wear USA, so you're kind of big time in my eyes. I'm just saying.
We were all on the same teams at some time. So
yes,
we are all former teammates, even though Coley and I were obviously college teammates. But so that's kind of the beautiful thing about this friendship. That goes back over 30
Paul
years.
Mitchell, baby.
It's unbelievable. Speaking about Paul Mitchell, which took us right into Columbia. Let's talk about Columbia for a second with you and Bear down there. I mean, we talked about it once, but 8,000 people, us wearing our poker shirts, playing down there. I
can't believe you're jumping into Columbia right off the bat. By the way, you had TK on this thing, I thought.
No, not yet. TK's coming on here.
If TK went before me, I'm literally taking off my fucking iPods and I'm out of here, because that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
But TK was a legend. So yeah, we did go to Columbia in 1995. Actually, there was a tournament called the Pacific Ocean Games, and the USA team didn't want to send their team, so they said, "Well, who won nationals?" And it was us.
Yep.
Right. Half our team was playing on the beach, 4-man AVP, and doing other things. So they sent 6 guys from the East and like 6 guys from the West from Team Paul Mitchell. Of course, all of us started, and we ended up winning gold over in Columbia. But they sent us with Pat Sinclair was the only player that represented the United States team. They sent us Pat Sinclair, by the way, past nails, and they sent us with a pair of blue USA volley shorts.
Yeah, champions. They were champions.
Champion shorts.
I still have
one
actually
T-shirt for 4 weeks of battle in Columbia. I'd like to talk to Spraw and USA Volleyball about that immediately. Actually, I would like a written apology letter for that 31 years later.
He's the guy to talk to.
I feel like,
do you think we can get back pay too? I'm like, the NCAA's paying on the old NIL money. Maybe like get a little bit of back pay while we're at it.
That'd be fantastic. I'll tell you honestly, it was the greatest trip ever for me. Like I actually started and got to play the whole time.
It was
and
the greatest trip
we really
for me
had
too,
no
Geeter.
idea what to expect when we went over there. Like I said, we had one practice. It was kind of scrubby. And we got to that first game against Costa Rica, actually, and just gave them an absolute Shazamo. And it was so fun. And as the tournament continued to build, by the way, there were like 80,000 people at opening ceremonies. As the tournament started to build, more and more people came. By the end, we're playing in front of 8,000 people, 10,000 people, playing Columbia in the finals. And it was all time. The one thing about the finals that I remember, so game 2, and we're up 1-0. Remember back then you go to 15 regular scoring, and it was 15-14 them, or 16-15, and I set a one-handed ball to Paul Neapoli. I'll never forget it, and it was clean, and he buried it, and they called me for a lift, and they won the set, and it's 1-1, and we hadn't lost, we hadn't dropped a set the entire tournament.
Yep.
and we went over to our bench. And by the way, we had no coach. Coley was coaching us. And we went over to the bench, and they were absolutely death raging. The fans, the players, they were like lifting up the coach. And we just sat there and we just watched them. And Sully, with that UCLA stern look where you hate everybody, was just staring at him. And we were just like, what the fuck? What is going on here? And we're like, oh, they've never beaten US in a set. So we sucked on it, and we sat there, and we let them parade around for about 15, 20 minutes. There were I don't know why they weren't blowing the whistle. And then we went out and we crushed them in games 3 and 4. And we had a great rager that night. Funny thing about that rager was we all got in this van, and it was taking us to a player party with all the other countries. And it was taking us through the jungles, and we were really, I think you guys remember this, we were very sketched out. We thought for sure they were just going to pull over and kill us, and we were all going to die. We were starting to panic a little bit, and all of a sudden, like, we get through these trees, we're out in the jungle, and it opens up, and there's just this oasis. And it was a huge tent and an absolute rager. And it was like we showed up and everyone was happy, and it was awesome. It was one of the great trips of my lifetime.
Mine too. One of my favorite stories of that whole trip was, so we played in 2 locations. The actual games themselves, we played in one venue they took us to, and then they took us back to, and then they took us back to another city to do like friendlies and play matches that mattered but weren't part of the tournament. In the tournament where we were, we just thought we could, put stuff on our room for room service. And so there was a lot of beers and cocktails put on our rooms. And so we're about to check out of the room, and they're like, oh, it's $4,000 or something like that. And
no, it isn't. We don't have that.
We're like, what are you talking about? Like, we didn't know what we were going to do. Like, they weren't going to let us leave. And then all of a sudden Tim Kelly, who met some boss the night before, where him and Sully barely came out of the room after 15. That was you in the room with TK.
Yeah, we went in the room and did shots with this guy, and you guys thought they were murdering us in there.
We did. Aguardiente is what you were drinking.
Yeah, we came out with a full sponsorship.
Yeah, you did. And so all of a sudden, phone call rings, picks up the phone. The guy who they were in the room with, who became our sponsor, quick phone call. Have a good time, guys. So we just went from like
everything wiped.
Just good luck, guys.
Sully, here's the best part. Sully, when we showed up, remember, we're in our early 20s, 23, 25 years old. We're raging. We're having a great time. We're smashing teams. We're partying. We're staying out all night. And they were like, you guys aren't taking this serious. They were a little bummed on us as volleyball players. Like, you guys just think it's this joke. We're like, well, we're smashing you and raging. And we're going to this weird burger joint it's like dog meat, eating burgers late at night. We were just having a great time. But we ended up just like walking the streets of Colombia during the day. Yeah. And we went into sweatshops, and Tim Kelly was the only guy. He spoke Spanish fluently. Yep. He ends up getting us full uniforms. We had sponsorships. We had a beer sponsor, poker beer. We had full soccer style USA flowing uniforms by the playoffs. So within 3 weeks, we went over with a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, and we walked away with full soccer uniforms. And when we came back to the hotel, I will never forget, they always had a liaison, and the person could speak English, obviously. And they were like, you guys can't do that. We're like, what? Like, you can't walk around this city with nobody with you. Like, you're 6'10" Americans rolling around. And we just thought it was, guys on the corner with machine guns. No big deal. We're cool. What's up? Taking pictures. And so we just treated this tournament like we were in, Tulsa, Oklahoma. And we were actually in like Paeta, Colombia, and Bogota and Cali. I remember we were at the top of this unbelievable 5-star hotel by the end of the trip, absolutely raging and having a great time. And they actually, one of the cartel bosses turned himself in the streets.
Yeah, it was
unbelievable. We weren't allowed to leave the hotel. There was a full parade carnival because he was giving himself up in front of our hotel. Hours. We just stayed up there and partied and hung out with the local.
It was
folk.
Unbelievable, though. We just went there like, hey, we got a free trip to Colombia. That was kind of the mindset before we went. And then all of a sudden we start smashing these teams, and we're like, hey, we can win the gold down here. And to be honest, I never stayed in one night. I'm like, I don't know. The next time I'm going to be in Colombia, I went out every single night and raged. It was
team was too. It was like Bear on the right and a kid named Bubbles from I don't know where he's from, George Mason maybe.
Yep, Jason.
CK couldn't play. Because he was coming off of surgery, so he was our coach. Tim Kelly and Neapoli in the middle.
Yep.
Sully and Sinclair on the left. And me setting.
That's a good squad.
Yeah,
we just great. You know what? It was the first time, guys, I realized that I was a decent setter. And I realized why, though, because Sully and Sinclair just put it right on top of my head every time. And I'm like, I can set. I'm not very good moving, but man, you put it on my head. I was flowing, and it was so for me. It was like the best 3-4 weeks, as a volleyball player that I ever had.
Peter, you were great. Every time they called your name, you'd walk out and blow kisses to the crowd. The crowd absolutely loved you.
I was MVP of the tournament. I was getting radio interviews. I don't know what happened or why. They thought I was crazy because I had this goatee. I don't know why you guys let me roll with a goatee for like 3 years. I've seen some recent videos. Not real happy about it.
Like the one I just sent you. The one I just sent you the other night.
It's tough for me to see that, but it was. I don't know if it was the Valley in me. It was a tough time leaving me, but I should have been rolling around with a gold chain and IROC Z the way I was looking that day. But I'll tell you what, for some reason, the Colombian people embraced it.
They sure did.
Crazy McGee, they called me or something. Yeah, it was Bear. It was the 3 weeks of my life, was it not, Bear?
It was the best trip I think I've ever been on because we didn't have any chaperones.
I was your chaperone. I was your chaperone.
Well, Colin's a chaperone, so you have no chaperones.
Yeah,
right.
And it was unbelievable. I never got to go to the Olympics or World Games or anything like that, and that was kind of the Olympics in my career.
Yeah,
and it was unbelievable. And hearing the national anthem played down in another country, standing on the box with our gold medals, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, listen, we've all won stuff, and we've all won stuff together, whether it was Paul Mitchell in Tulsa, Oklahoma, whether it was in Columbia, whether it was you guys' national championship in Long Beach, whatever it is, like winning with your boys or a group of guys coming together, it's just truly something that you wish everyone could experience when they play sports, because it really does set your whole life in terms of how you approach things, because you go through stuff, and we've all been lucky to do it together. And I think that's what bonds us forever. I mean, you're talking about that trip is 30 years ago. You guys, when you have Tim Kelly on here, TK remembers so much about that trip, and he is so funny with it. I mean, he literally, so we were all saying bring it back then. He literally has his company to this day, 30 years later, still called Bring It Promotions. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he still takes kids on tours over here.
There was another thing about that trip too, was the Macarena had just come out or something like that, right? And I'd never heard that song, and we went down there and we were doing the Macarena all the time, and it became popular in the States probably about a month or two after we got back from Columbia. But yeah, you introduced us to the Macarena. It was
true story, Bear. This is incredible. You guys maybe we're going to ask this. Everyone always says, when I go talk to college students or high school students about broadcasting, and they ask me how I got into it, I always start by saying, your path is not going to be my path, because mine started basically on raging in Colombia and in Cabo. When I was the first time I ever went and ever touched a microphone was in Cabo San Lucas, and that's what got me the job on the AVP 3 years later. My team had lost. We were doing co-ed 6-man over Easter weekend. It was after Bear and I had this trip. So we went into the ocean. I came back and guys are like, dude, the finals, Guido, they want someone to announce the finals. Go do it. I'm like, what? I started sucking drinks down. Literally, they were playing the Macarena, and it was kind of new, but I was doing it. And for some reason, everyone thought that's the greatest thing in the world. Like, he knows how to do the Macarena. Yeah. And fast forward 3 years, 1998, the AVP is going through all those changes. Remember, it was after the Atlantic Olympics, ownership change. They were going bankrupt. The two announcers at the time, Jim Marico and Sam Lagana, both there. Wives were having kids. They couldn't do all the tournaments, so they passed me a few tournaments. But the reason how I even got a chance to do that was John Stevenson, RIP, late Johnny the Steve, was running the AVP at the time, and he was asking about it. Who can like fill in and announce and do some announcing? And Matt Unger, and Kevin Martin said, our boy Geeter could do it. And he's like, who's Geeter? And they were like, he's like, and Johnny Steve goes, was that the guy in Cabo 3 years ago? They said yes. And he goes, the guy doing the Macarena and all that shit announcing? They're like, yes. He's like, hire him. Hired me, and I was the guy for the next 17 years.
It's amazing, because I was actually going to which I was going to actually ask you about, or actually have you tell everyone the story, and you just did it, because I remember, because I was down there playing in the finals in that tournament, and it was just so like organic. I mean, we're out partying, we're playing volleyball on the beach. It's such a great tournament. We're having a great time, and all of a sudden, Geeter's drinking, and the next thing you know, he's on the mic, acting like he'd been doing it for decades, right? Like, I mean, not too shocking, but everyone's like, oh, and then sure enough, like you said, 3 years later, he's doing the AVP, and now he's working for the Lakers, calling games with James Worthy and Robert Horry. So not bad.
Well, it's not a bad little path, but as I tell the kids, this will not be your path. It was just so random, and really, I don't know. I just grabbed the mic and like, honestly, we were just doing a lot of fun voices back then. It was like Marv Albert and Harry Carey. You know, it's just all the stuff that we were all doing. Jim Carrey, impersonations and I just kind of got on the mic and started doing that kind of stuff. And it was really just announcing my friends in the finals. And that's kind of how it started. I was like, wow, this is super fun. I had never thought about being in front of the camera. I never thought about grabbing a mic. I was just literally at the time teacher and a coach. And that's all I ever wanted to do. You know, I learned how to talk about the game by being a bench guy at the Ridge. I mean, honestly, that when you're on the sidelines, all you do is talk shit, right? And you know, that was my role, is to like, you know, I'm talking shit to fans. I'm doing whatever. That was my role as a guy on the team, was keep the bench going, keep the guys going. So I just, it seemed real natural to me. I never, all of us played high school sports, and growing up, none of us were ever sitting on the bench. You get to college, and every guy was a star in high school.
Superstar, yeah.
You know, Matty O was so great setter. I just happened to be a year behind him, so I watched him play for a long time. I think I was his backup for 25 years if you count the six man, which is a long time to back someone up. It wasn't very enjoyable, but you learn a lot about yourself in those moments. But I don't know, man. I just look back on those days we were all playing together and stuff, you guys, and that's where it all started. I mean, I never tried to be anyone else when I went for an audition or got on TV or was an announcer, because I feel like anybody can do that. I just was myself. I figured that's how I got to bet on me. I can't just go pretend to be Mr. Announcer guy.
Gator, you gotta say that Price is Right might have kicked that whole thing off.
That's actually
come on. I mean, that was during right out of college.
Funny. That was before Cabo. That was right before funny, Cabo. But
funny, Sully brings that up, because I'll tell you guys when it was. We were all together in '94 in Tulsa.
Yep, okay. I remember you showing up.
We won that
talking about
I met. That's the first time I met you.
That's when you met me. Okay, we filmed. We went to The Price is Right 3 weeks before Nationals. It didn't air until 2 weeks after Nationals.
Right.
So you guys heard us talking about, we were talking to girls everywhere. Our boy won a car on The Price is Right. You guys had just met me. You had not seen it yet.
No.
Yeah.
I actually always tell that story too when I'm talking to students, because I always do say the first time I was ever on TV is actually this moment. and
what a moment.
The funniest things in the world too. You do the Chevy Chase fall. You do the lawnmower going down to front contestant row.
Can I say something about Bear? I was telling Coley this the other day. This fucking guy, Bear, remembers things where I'm like, he remembers stuff that I don't, and I think that is super impressive, because I have a weird memory, and Coley will tell you I remember things about games that it's not a blessing, it's more of a curse. But Bear the other day on a podcast, you guys brought up my name, and he's like, we win the title and whatever, we're in Holyoke or we're in Tulsa, and he's up there, and he went up and sang Devo's Whip It. And I'm like, dude, he remembers that? It's the only time I ever got up. I didn't even know the words that night.
You about that.
Yeah, Coley was the singer. I was just Coley's backup.
But keep hearing about Coley singing.
Dude, Coley was singing around the world, dude, wherever we go. And that was his thing. We all set it up. We meet new people. Oh, it's our boy Coley. And he would get up and do it. I don't know what happened that night, but we won the title.
Crushed it. And you crushed it.
After we won it.
I had my green favorite shirt. It was a forest green. Paul Mitchell. We won the title shirt. I don't know if you guys remember that. Tommy Hoff, we were all on the same team. Jeans, and I rolled up there and I sang Whip It, and I have no idea, but for that moment I knew every word, Bear. And you remembered that moment. And I don't know how you remember that. And I did do a Chevy Chase fall, and I did do the worm, and I did do the sprinkler, and I won a Murray Feist 3-piece lamp set and a Mercury Grand Marquis, and I still don't know how I did it. I don't know how.
The best part. Go ahead, Bear.
The first night I met you was in Tulsa, and it was the players' party. And you're like, hey, my name's Chris McGee, but everybody calls me Geeter. I'm like, okay, Chris. And he goes, yeah. You go, don't call me Chris, call me Geeter. I'm like, oh, okay, all right.
Don't call me Tim, call me Bear.
That's right.
Within 20 minutes, you were up on stage with the band singing "Brown Eyed Girl."
Yeah.
I'm wondering, do you still sing, or do you do that still?
No, guys, I had the worst voice. I'm telling you.
No, you kept time, you kept rhythm, you were in it.
Yeah, I know. Those were earlier days. I don't know how I did it. I think I piggybacked Coley a bunch of times too. I remember singing American Pie with him a couple times in front of all these students at the school we both taught at. And listen, I don't know the words and I can't carry tune, but in that moment, somehow, I don't know. It's like Will Ferrell when he blacks out during the debate and he wakes up and says, "That's how you debate." In old school. It just I don't know what happened, but in those moments, somehow the words come to me. Or
yeah, you were great.
I think I make half the shit up there and it just works. I got to be honest.
I was like, who is this guy? And you were keeping timing. Like I said, you were carrying a tune. You were with the band. It was unbelievable.
So
I'm like, this guy's unbelievable.
Dude, well, you guys will be shocked to hear this. Of your growing fans out there, Coley loves this because he already knows this story. I'm at my daughter's SCBA tournament the other day at Momentus in Orange County, and I'll say his name in a minute. Comes up to me, he's like, "Dude, when are you going to be on Set the Pipe, man? I listened to every single one. It's so good." And I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm supposed to go on this Sunday." My friend Doug Tuttle, and Doug Tuttle was
I know
a year
Doug.
behind.
I used to live with Doug.
Dude, he told me Doug was a year behind me at St. Catherine's, grades 1 through 8. And true story, in 8th grade, and this is also someone that set me on a path to where I am now, because I would have never played volleyball. I was supposed to play basketball in college. I was being recruited. I wasn't going to ever play volleyball until I met John Price. Okay. But Doug Tuttle's mom and our teacher, Teresa Godino was her name. She played college volleyball. We're at this small little school in the Valley. They started a volleyball team and they taught us how to play volleyball. Fast forward 2 years to Cresty High School. They had tryouts because we got the boys volleyball as a sport, and I knew how to play because of Doug Tuttle's mom.
Wow.
So that's how I made the team. I made varsity as a sophomore. So whenever I see Doug, I saw his dad recently, great people, and just the best, nicest people. Sister Shannon was a longtime coach. Doug played at Pierce College. So she was so great because he was like, "Dude, you got to go on Set the Pipe." Like,
that is so funny.
So super funny.
He's
and
going on it.
The other night we're Ubering down to see Dylan Klein play at USC, and I'm with Jimmy and his family, his wife Brooke, Jimmy's legendary pops Bob, mom Joanne, and Jimmy's talking about Set the Pipe, and he's like, "I've never listened to anything for an hour in my life," and I listened to the whole thing, and he's like, "I learned a lot about Nygaard." And so did Dylan. And he's like, "And Geeter, they actually talk about your leadership skills in there." So it was like super cool. So I'm like, so you guys don't understand that this is a big bucket list thing for me, Set the Pipe. So thank you for having me.
I'm glad you made it. Yeah. After all the things you've done, so I do want to go back to, because I kind of touched upon it on one of the pods, but I think we should go down a little bit deep on the day you won the car. Yeah. So I don't think people truly realize, like, oh, you go to a show and stuff. So I set this up before, but there's 15 of us, maybe 20 of us the night before. We stay up till 2, 3 in the morning, and we got to get up at like 5, because you have to show up at like 6:30 or 7 to get in line to just get the ticket to come back to get in line to get in.
I know where you're going.
Yeah, it's the fact.
Whose idea was it even to go on this thing?
Okay, so here's the deal real quick, if I could jump in, Coley, because that was a great setup. But it was 20 guys, I think, and then only we had 15 tickets. You remember, Coley? Obviously, you and I were part of it. We were a lock, and a few other guys. We did a little draft, so a couple guys got cut that night, and we actually raved that night. What a shock. And we all said what we would do if we got picked. So we went around, and we're all drinking our oldies, our Mickeys, and I said, if I get picked, I'm just doing a Chevy fall, because that's all I ever did at the time, just fake fall in front of wherever I was, weirdo. So that's a true story, right, Coley? Like we had a draft, and we had 15 guys, and we left that next morning at 5.
And we caravan in the morning from the Valley out to Hollywood, to where the studio is, and we all get there. And again, let's say it's 6 or 6:30 in the morning. There's 15 of us. We were up late last night, and we're all just trying to figure it out. And the way we are, you guys know, we start singing songs, chanting things. We have all these people in line singing USA at like 7 in the morning.
National anthem.
We did the national anthem.
Excellent.
Everyone's standing. Well, they're all standing up in line, but everyone's putting their hands up. The whole place. There's 500 people, and only like 300 get in. Right?
Yeah.
So there's like 500 people, only 300 get in. So 500 people are singing the national anthem. We're just having the best time. So we get our tickets. We're all excited. So we got to come back in an hour and a half. So we go get beers and go down to Carl's Jr. and have a little breakfast, and then had that happen, and then went back out. And so, Geet, I think you should tell the Brian Killian story. I said it, but what you did. So this is amazing.
So it's really funny, because we were rated pretty early, right? And I always try to piece together why I'm the one that got picked, because we were all doing stuff. And I did go to the bathroom one time, and these 2 ladies asked me about the earthquake. We had the earthquake 3 or 4 months prior, January 17th in 1994, which was pretty, devastating for a lot of us. And I told these ladies the story, and I'm always wondering if were they from The Price is Right? I don't know, because she did walk out and go, "Who's your?" They were like kind of asking about our group. But here's where it gets pretty interesting. We had a hooper named Brian Killian, and he was always this like big, really good looking dude, but just had the funniest one-liners, because he always everyone always said he was like just out to lunch, but he really wasn't. So Killian played junior college basketball at West Valley in Northern California. And they were telling the story about how the late, great Coach Franzen was screaming at him in practice. And he's like, and Killian was supposed to be at the nail. They're at the short 17 box. They're the free throw line. He's like, Killian, stop practice. What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing here? And he goes, because he was on the wrong spot. He just goes, I just came to play ball, coach. He thought he meant like, what are you doing here at West Valley College? He's like, I just came to play ball, coach. So that whole morning we are freaking crying at the Brian Killian story. So I'm in line and I'm like, you guys might not believe this about me, but whatever I'm about to do, something like on the microphone or onto it, you get nervous, you get whenever you're giving a speech or you're going up in front of people, it's a very nerve-wracking experience, sure. Right? And I was the last in line, right? Coley of R15, which is super weird. And you have all this buildup. So when you walk in, there's a guy, his name is Phil. He's in a big director chair. He's got 2 Barker Beauties with him on the side. And he's like, what's your name? Why do you want to be on the show? Or he asks you one question. Coley was so unbelievable. Coley told a story in 1 minute and 30 seconds, 50 miles an hour, about his leg being broken, quarterback, crying, all this stuff. It was hilarious. All these guys are so funny giving these answers. And he not a peep. And I get up there and I had no idea what to do. And he goes, what's your name? And I go, my name is Christopher Joseph McGee, and I just came to play ball, Phil. And he goes, okay. I didn't get another question. I got nothing else. We go in, and Coley will back this. We're all in the we're in there, and it's a really small. You think it's so big, and it's actually pretty small. Yeah. So Roddy comes out, and Coley's on my right, and Keith Gibbs on my left, and this guy, Roddy comes out, the voice, and he's giving you all the rules. Hey, Bob's fragile. Don't tackle him. Don't touch him. It's Bob. Blah, blah, blah. He's like, listen, it's going to be really loud in here. We're going to start in 2 minutes. The Barker Beauties are going to have a card. You might not hear your name, so your name's on the card. Make sure you're looking if you don't hear me. And he's like, let's get it going. And everyone's going nuts, and we're all going crazy. And all of a sudden, one of the Barker Beauties drops a card. And all I saw was an E and an R. And all of a sudden, something hit me, Christopher. And I got nervous and I sat down and I'm pissing my pants basically. And I like look at Coley and Keith Gibbs. I'm like, I think they're going to call me. And they're like, yeah, whatever. And we're just raging. And sure as shit, the first name called, Christopher McGee, come on down. And I swear, I like, look, Coley's going crazy. I go out and I'm like, Chevy fall. And I fell, and you look at that poor old guy on the aisle. He goes to pick me up.
He goes to pick you up,
and I'm in the lawnmower, and the rest is I blacked out. I have no idea what happened, but I won a Murray Feist 3-piece lamp set for $8.51, Bob, and then a Mercury Grand Marquis for $19,860 in the game 1 away. Facts.
And you're breakdancing. You're hugging Bob.
Yeah. That's a walk off right there, Chris. Awesome.
I think wasn't it top 10 in
Yeah, so here's, if you guys want to hear the follow-up, because I know we don't have a ton of time, but the best parts of all this were just the stuff that went into it, right? Like Peter Michelli and Darren Jones, our boys, hoops and football, they watched the show every day.
Oh.
They knew their shit. I had no idea. So when I'm up there, and this is, God, you guys, I was like clueless up there. The first thing that we're actually bidding on a gown, and I thought it was something behind the gown. So I'm like clueless, and it would come to my turn, and I'm looking around, and Bob's getting a little like, come on, Christopher, like, you got, and I was just like, I'd look around, and then I'd say something, and then I just remembered this. In the movie Blues Brothers, Dan Aykroyd called that guy Bob. Hey, Bob, let me go talk to Bob. So I just called him Bob the whole time, and everyone just thought it was so funny. So he's like, hilarious. Christopher, how many people do you have here? 15, Bob. Got the football team, and I'm just calling Bob. So it was just a complete fucking clown up there, right? And then, sure as shit, man, I'm losing every time. But then come the Murray Feist 3-piece lamp sets, and we're going down the aisle, and it's getting late in the day, man. I hadn't won anything, and the gal goes 850, and I just said 851, Bob, and I won. And I just walked up there and I thought I won everything. I just was like looking around, and I would do the slow shake with Bob and bring him in tight, and he didn't care that I touched him. It was weird. He was fine with it. And all of a sudden he's like, Christopher, he's like talking to me. He's like, how many guys you got from Northridge here? And I'm like talking to, and he goes, can you all get in this? And that thing opens up, and sure enough, it's the Mercury Grand Marquis. It's got to be staged. How did they know to do it? I don't know how I wasn't going for whatever the plants. I was going for the Mercury Grand Marquis, and it was a game called One Away, and they put a bid up there. They put 5 numbers. I have to go up 1 or down 1. this is how clueless I am. I went with a 3 first, like it was going to be a $38,000 car.
Probably is today, but
today.
But back
because
then,
because I'm not hearing any buzzers, I think every number I put up there is correct.
Mm.
So Coley will remember this. When I get to the last number and I say 0, I start jumping up and down.
You thought you won.
And I'm starting to run. I think I
thought he won it.
And they're laughing at me. Like, you know, when you make a mistake in elementary school, like the whole student body, they're laughing at me. And I don't know why. And I'm like mid-pike, ready to just go down and do a complete windmill spin that the Beardine likes. And I
love it.
I look over and Bob's like, "Where are you going?" So I just gathered myself. I walk right up to Bob and I give him that tight, bring it in one more time. And I go, "I'm just heading for the card, Bob." And he goes, "Well, don't head for there yet." Sure enough, Pete Michelli, Darren, they're changing me from a 3 to a 1.
I have no idea.
Dude, this is the best part.
You
Coley
get to
on
change
video.
it at the end, right?
Coley, Mr.
Change the
All-American.
I got nothing.
Coley, Mr. 3-time All-American. Coley, Mr. Clutch, Mr. Everything. My best friend in the world. Best man at his wedding. Godfather of my youngest child. I'm looking for him for the last number. And he's like, dude, the look on his face. He looked like the most unathletic. Here's the guy who was a 2-sport star in college. How many guys play literally quarterback and middle blocker like in the world? And this guy panicked. But not McKelly, not Pete Michelli and Kevin Carmichael in the front. And these guys are doing this. And they're like, second 8 to a 6. And I'm like, second 8 to a 6. I mean, no bigger idiot on the planet. Bob's getting a little frustrated with me because I'm like so all over the place. Sure enough, man. Did he get this? Did he go, show me a 1? Boom, 9, 8, 6, 0. And I start going crazy. Everyone's going nuts. And I come back to Bob. And he's dying, and I look at him, I grab his hand, I go, "I'm going down." And I went and did a full windmill. And by the way, Bear, real nice kick. Off the high shoulder blade. Sully, you would have loved it. Kick the feet, perfect. And I get up. I'm wearing jorts. What a clown. I'm wearing jorts and a sweatshirt around my waist. That's another problem.
I remember that.
Total Valley.
The Valley was tough on us, Keith, back in
The
those
Valley
times.
was tough, man. The Valley was so tough. And I go, and I'm like, "Oh, dude." And I went into the mashed potato. No, I went, okay, mashed potato, sprinkler, and as I'm going back on the sprinkler into the handshake, and Bob is keeled over, grabs my hand, and I just look at him and I go, "Showcase Showdown. Showcase Showdown." We go to break. They're dying. They love it. And I end up losing. Frank from Florida spun $1. So I didn't get the Showcase Showdown. By the way, our guys helped Frank from Florida come within $1,000 of both, and the guy won both Showcase Showdowns.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
Great.
But during the breaks, guys, people were coming up to me that worked there, and they were like, Who are you? Like, what do you do? Are you I was like, I play volleyball at Northridge, and I'm a waiter at Marie Callender's.
Right.
What?
Used to bring home pies, by the way. They were good pies.
So
good pies.
The reason why this story kind of lived was then I go to nationals, I meet all of you. Everyone tells their friends about it, and it just becomes this like thing, right?
This is pre-internet, so it's no social media, right?
No,
but it grew.
Right. And then that summer, all of a sudden, the next summer, Brent Berry and I still laugh about this. Brent Berry is the rookie of the year in the NBA, and he's at the 6 man, and I know who he is. And he's like, "Hey man," he's like, weren't you the guy in The Price is Right?" I thought I was being like punked before there was a thing called punk. I'm like, "Dude, yeah, what?" He's like, "Dude, I watched it every day at Oregon State, man. I watched that show every day. You were amazing." So little things like that started happening in my life. I'd be waiting tables, and people were like, "I saw you on The Price is Right." I was coaching 4 years later at Campbell Hall, and I come back from Thanksgiving break, and the kids are like, "Coach, I saw you on The Price is Right." They re-aired it. Okay. Then the two things happened that kind of were like wow moments. They did the 25th anniversary of Bob Barker, and I was one of the clips they showed.
Awesome.
And then fast forward 2 more years, I'm announcing the AVP. The year is 2000. I'm in New Orleans, and they have answering machines back then. I call home, and it was the night of the Emmys. And I had all these messages on my machine. And people were like, "Dude, you're on the Emmys. So they gave Bob Barker a Lifetime Achievement Award. They showed 3 clips from his life. They showed it was a montage of his life.
Sure.
3 clips from The Price is Right. The lady running down.
Oh, right.
Flying up and down. One other dude, and me.
Wow. I didn't know that.
And so it just kept, and then every job I would get, it would be a thing. Like even at this new job with the Lakers, at Fox, they did it. When I was on the AVP and Karch found out about it, he was like obsessed with it. And he found a way to like put it on the big screen at events, and he would get up and talk about it and lead to it. So like it just followed me honestly for 30 years.
To set the pipe. It's followed you to set the pipe.
It's followed me to set the pipe.
And it's still going.
I mean, think about it though. Like at the end of the day, though, it should follow you like that. And again, we can't even do it justice. I mean, obviously, you've seen the video of him making the.
It will be on this pod, though. I'm going to put it on this pod.
Yeah, and selling the car to his girlfriend at the time's father.
Jen Fisher. We still laugh about it.
Yeah, all the time, which is amazing. But like. Yeah. The day itself is like that's the hard thing. It's like, and then after we won the car, so he wins the car. The adrenaline kind of comes down. Like we've already partied. We've had our Carl's Jr.
Giuseppe. Her name was Giuseppe, right next to me.
So all of a sudden, the next thing you know, we drive back to the valley and we throw a big one, a big party
with the girls that were there that we met. At The Price is Right. They brought their crew out to the valley. We all partied and it was super fun. But guys,
Mooney brought Irene. It was a good time.
Yeah, we thought I was like rich because I won. So like we went back to the valley and we all lived in this condo complex, all the athletes. And I drive in and word had already spread because we called on a payphone. And I'm like outside the sunroof, I'm the grand poobah of the parade, and like we're throwing a party and I'm buying cakes. We thought I was loaded. I did end up selling that car for $16,000. And I paid 4,000 taxes, and I walked away with $12,000 that summer, and that was like my little nest egg to start at 22 years old, man.
Didn't you buy your truck with that?
That was a terrible decision too. A green truck with a yellow stripe on it. It
was a bad decision.
Idiotic move. It was a bad decision. I had nobody ever fucking would guide me. I'd be sitting on millions right now. And then I went to Cabo and raged. I thought I had all this money. Gave it to Matteo for gambling. I just did some dumb things with it, but man, was it fun. We had fun though.
Yeah, we did.
That's a great story.
We did have fun.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Sully. I was going to say, I wanted to tell one more story or two more stories. I know we could be on here forever. I think we're going to have
part one. Let the people know there's going to be a part two.
Are you coming back either? You're coming back?
I'll come back next week. I'm saying that we're going to, since we're going to do an hour, we can do another one if people like it. You give the people what they want. If they don't like it, I'll never come on again. It's totally up to you. I don't want to bother your fans.
Yeah, I think it's going to.
Dylan Klein on here personally.
Dylan. I talked to Dylan yesterday. He said he'd love to come on.
Yeah, when the season ends, let's get him on. Man, is it fun watching him play.
Yeah, he can really get up.
Yeah, really athletic.
State, Cooper Robinson, all these amazing kids. Man, I know we get into that later, but men's volleyball is so fun, guys. It's so fun, man.
I want to talk. We definitely want to talk to you about volleyball, about your daughter who was committed to USC. Want to talk about juniors, all this stuff. But I want you to tell them. Try to come up with maybe your favorite moment, one of your favorite moments at Northridge. Obviously, I've already said it, and we can rehash All-Star Weekend.
Did you take All-Star Weekend? Did you take that one already away? You did, didn't you?
I did.
That podcast.
But if you remember, All-Star Weekend is when we smashed these guys down 3 straight. That's what started
it. Do we have to go there?
What people might not realize was they were the defending champs, and they were also 17-0 to start.
Yeah, we were crushing it.
And
absolutely crushing it. We were.
The video was unbelievable because the video is actually legit. Like the volley is still pretty good. The serving, I don't know what the hell we were thinking. How are we supposed to win games serving like that? Just lollipops. But
I mean, we couldn't because we couldn't hit the net. Our net was, you hit the net, it's dead ball.
Thank you, Sully. Thank you. So we beat you guys 3 straight. That did kick off All-Star Weekend for sure. Colia, we had so many amazing stories. All-Star Weekend has always stuck out because we still have a text chain with like 14, 15 of us. They all went to the Price is Right. They were all on different sports teams, and they were all part of that All-Star Weekend. But I don't know, a lot of them are around like some of our best moments, right? Now, I hate to say it, guys, but it has to do with beating you. I mean, the greatest win, I think, in Northridge Matador history was when we were down 0-2 in the semifinals of regionals late at night in Irvine and down 14-12 in the third and came back and won, and then won in 5. The day before that game, because after the first round, you had a day to practice. We had no balls.
Nothing.
Nothing. We go to the big gym. This is how scrubby everything was. We go to the gym at the Matadome gym, and there's no fucking poles, nets, or balls. They're locked away, Bear. And there's
before the semifinals of the West Regional of the NCAA Men's Volleyball Championship.
Number 1 in the country versus number 3 or 4. It's on. Let's do this. Actually, Our head coach is gone. He was scouting, watching whatever. He was doing something. And Campbell had everything. We were just going to serve and pass. We weren't going to have a full practice. There's nothing. So we proceeded to just somehow, we had one ball, actually. Remember, Coley found one way up top. We played soccer. We had a soccer game. We somehow like climbed into, people were on top of baskets. Some guy climbed up and made it to the top of the ceiling and walked the catwalk. We just
super safe.
We went, super safe. We just, that was our practice. And we showed up the next day and won. And it's always been one of my most favorite memories. To me, that was like the all-time match. And I used to tell that story, not because, you guys were our friends, like probably our best friends when it comes to like teams. And you guys were so good. And you guys had always set the bar. You'd won a title. And to be honest with you, like, we were down to, I've used that match so much in my own coaching career because of a couple things. I'll never forget John Price. Like, everyone talks about adjustments and all these things, but John, after game 2, looked us all in the eye and said, hey, they're simply kicking our ass.
I remember you guys telling us that.
Yeah. And like, we were down 14-12. And by the way, if they would have called Matteo on a little bit of a gaffe, that game's over. They let it go. We end up winning. Matteo stuffing Schroeds, the face lord, for the win when we switch block to send Peixoto out to Hilly. And they set behind to Schroeds, Figgy, and Matteo stuffed him for the win. And what I remember about that night was us dogpiling, and Stanford was in our dogpile because they knew they were playing us the next day and they were well rested, and they ended up beating us in 3. But I just remember, like, I've often told kids, like, when I put my top 5 wins of my life, when I break them all down, that is up there in my top 1, 2, or 3. And I never stepped foot on the court. I didn't step foot on the court in that game, but it was still, that's the point of being on a team. Right. You are still a part of it. You still play a role. So that match has always meant so much to me. Obviously, losing the finals in '93 is something I'm never ever going to forget. But getting to that moment, May 8th, I don't still think about it or anything. But
me neither. No, Coley doesn't either. May 8th. We've heard that a couple times.
I'd love to have that ring, but we don't. But I'll say this: one of the great memories at Northridge was my freshman year. And I've yet to like kind of connect with everybody. I mean, obviously Coley's my homie, Kenny Lynch, Gary Resnick, Greg Weaver, freshmen were kind of hanging out tight. Coley immediately went in and had an impact from day one. All the guys knew him. And so he was way more dialed in than me. Matteo and I hated each other, which is really funny. We tell that story all the time.
It's true.
And we were going to play, John Price was a legend. He had great ideas. We're going to play the hoops team in softball on homecoming day. And we're going to invite people and we're going to have a game. And the losing team is then going to throw a disco party and dress up for that team at one of their home games and then throw a disco party that night. John Price made that bet. We had a 2-run lead going into the last inning. Okay. And Matteo and I are kind of bonding by this time because I can play another sport. I played baseball my whole life, so I'm actually decent. He kind of liked it. We were kind of bonding. Neil Kaufman, Coffey's probably going to hear this. Huge error at first. Terrible error. Cost us that game, in my opinion.
Cost us the game. Thanks, Coffey. I'm still better to this day.
Bear, I can't let it go, Bear. You can't let that shit go.
Throw him under the bus.
It was 89, 40 years ago. And I'm like, so it was
a forced error. It wasn't. It was a forced error. You don't make those kind of errors.
We lose. Okay, sorry. They're dogpiling. We all go out that night, but we're bonding. We're having an absolute rage. And Matteo and I, we all go to this pie cap party, and Coley was there. And Matteo and I are totally bonding that night. And now I'm a setter, and we're buddies. And Matteo's got this gal, and he's like leaned up on this guy's car. Well, it's like president of fraternity's like ex-gal, and it's his car, and Matt just doesn't care. And Matt's leaning up, and I'll never forget it. This is what bonded Matteo and I for life. The guy came out with like 30 guys. And Matteo, I just had never seen anything like this guy. I'd never seen a guy that confident in that moment. Like, yeah, I'm with her right now, and you guys are going to do nothing about it. Like, let's go. And I like was really buzzed, obviously. And I just remember Kresge, we had a few Donnie Brooks. I just remember like you had to back your guy, right? I had an older brother. So I was like, I looked at him, I'm like, let's go. And
we're going.
Like, and I think these guys were like, these two idiots are insane. And no fight happened, thank God.
Oh.
But Matteo from that moment was like, dude, you're my guy. Like, you were with me, and we bonded from that moment. By the way, Coley was some gal. He didn't even know what happened. Coley would have been right there. One thing about Coley, there was things about to happen, and people's hands were about to be thrown. CK was the first one there. So I always loved that about Coley. Like, Coley and Matteo had your back no matter what. And that's, I think, what bonded our group together. And why I mentioned this day, Sully and Bear, is because to me as a freshman, it was the first day I became a part of the team. Mm-hmm. And we had this amazing time. Even though we lost that game, what it created was the Matamaniacs. I don't know if Coley's ever talked about that, but
Haven't.
the Matamaniacs still exists today, 35 years later. We dressed up for a basketball game for the basketball team. That was the losing bet. We raged. They won. We threw a disco party that night at our house. The party went off, and we just kept doing it. So we dressed up for all the games.
Yep.
That's how the Matamaniacs started. It started on a bet that we actually lost. Yeah, so that to me is my favorite Northridge, like, because what it
That's a great
brought
story
to our team and what the culture that I think it created for a long time. To be honest with you guys, because you guys will vouch for us, like, Northridge is not a destination place, but for those years, and it's always been a program that's competed, but for those years, it earned a top 5. It was a top 5 national team, and it was a place that guys loved. Like, even our opponents loved coming. We were all buddies, but yet we were mother effers when we competed against each other. I think that's what made the WEVA and the MPSF very special in those years. And by the way, the volleyball being played now is the best I've ever seen. But the years that we were there were super special for us. It wasn't better, but it's super special for us.
No doubt. I'll tell you, to go back to what you were saying about that, that day of before we beat Long Beach in 2 is, we're in a gym with nothing to do. We've got guys, and we saw videos of it, sitting on top of the basketball hoops, all of us chanting, singing songs like we're in the movie Stripes, like just making shit up like that.
Yeah, we were chanting, singing.
Chanting, everyone's calling it. That's how we practice, and we go down and win, which was, we come down, we already went over it, amazing. And then also to go back with that game is like, that's what made our school, yours was very similar. We talk about this being in a state school, is we had to manufacture stuff, right? So like, we did this game, we lost. Again, we still don't like that we lost, but what a fun night it turned out to be. Disco party, disco dressing up to games, go to every other game for the next 4 years. Everyone's dressing up, calling them Matamaniacs. It's 15, it's 30, it's 50, it's 60 people. One last story I'll say about the Matamaniacs. It's one of my favorites. And if she's listening, I don't know her name, but she was the left fielder for UNLV.
Man, Sarah something.
So I want to apologize to her now.
Yeah,
so
you made her cry.
So we used to go to baseball games, softball games, and we dressed up just like this after we had lost this game. We made it more of a Matamaniacs everywhere. So we're just heckling. We weren't, well, maybe we were.
It was a regional
rude,
final too against
UNLV.
Fresno State. UNLV, sorry.
Yeah, so this game's at UNLV, and we're just going back and forth. So Kevin Carmichael, who was at the Price is Right, his wife Beth, one of the best athletes ever at our school, goes up, and like this, the left fielder from UNLV bombs a shot to left field, and our Beth goes up over the fence. Like, here's the fence. Like, if you can see my hand, like, goes up and robs her from a home run. Like, it was just an unbelievable catch. It was in the picture the next day in the paper. The next inning, Beth hits a ball, and she bombed balls, but she hit the ball where it just kind of just went over the fence. Like, you could have made an effort. You might have been able to catch it, but the girl didn't even try. So we're just all over her. Like, where's the effort? She throws her.
Than that, Sarah.
Yeah, come on, Sarah.
Dude,
and
inning after inning.
Inning after inning. So this is probably the 5th, 6th inning. We've been just all over her, and the ball goes finally over, and she throws her mitt down, and she's in left field. So left field all the way across to the diamond to go back.
Team, by the way.
Throws her mitt down and goes, "Why don't you guys just shoot them?" And just walk to her dugout. And then UNLV will never play a women's softball game at Cal State Northridge ever again. Back from that.
That's a great story.
That's just related to the Matamaniacs. But yeah, we had some great times at Northridge. I mean, really did. Unbelievable manufacturing fun and just finding things like the stories we told you.
Bear, you guys have all been a part of volleyball at every level. And it's like, sometimes we overthink things. Like, did we have to have the greatest, most dialed in practice to go down the next day and play the biggest game of our life and be down 0-2 and win? No, but chemistry does matter.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
And belief in each other matters. And that's really, at the end of the day, you can go X's and O's all day and you can be prepared, but you got to have each other's back and you got to be a team when you get into those moments.
Definitely.
Yeah, man, it matters. Just like us in Columbia, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, guys, so we have, 100 more stories to tell. I will say, I'm going to talk a little bit about Chris McGee's character because sometimes the stories overshadow that. But I came into Long Beach from Boise, Idaho, brought a group in, and haven't seen Chris McGee 15 years probably, right? But I had his number for some reason. So I go to this FIVB event, and I've got 6 high school kids, a chaperone with me, and I text. I'm like, God, that sounds like Geeter up there. Like, is that? So I can't see anybody in the booth. So I text him. I'm like, are you by chance at this FIBB? He goes, yeah, Sully, where you at? Are you here? Like, this is crazy. all of a sudden, my daughter's there too, by the way, when she was younger. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to direct your attention to center court. There's a legend from Long Beach. The legend, Sully Patrick Sullivan's here. And all the girls just go.
Dude, that was hilarious, dude.
They look down at me. They're like,
I was demanding a standing ovation.
Oh my God. And my daughter's like this going, oh my God, Dad. Oh my God. You just text somebody? I'm like, well, maybe. She's like, oh God, Dad. So anyway.
Oh, so good.
Geeter did not have to do that. All he could have done was text me. He could have just been doing what he does. I was just saying hello, but to go that for somebody I haven't seen in years just tells me the bond that we had. I didn't go to school with Geeter. You know, we played A6 Paul Mitchell, and to have that bond after so many years, it just has meant a ton to me, just from a character perspective. Like, how can you hate Chris McGee? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just
all
can't.
we hear in the background is y'all looking for a date.
Okay, that's another story.
Yeah, this is not the time.
Not the time. But also, I'm not gonna leave out that Chris McGee is one in juniors. He is a national champion coach. Yeah. Let me throw that out there.
And let's not forget the 5 more than Emmys.
I was there. I was there at one of them, and this guy, when he won, threw up his clipboard at least 50 feet in the air, right, and ran. Now it just got done. He ran in front of the visitors' bench like this. In front of the visitors' bench. He didn't even stay on the side of the court. He ran in front of the coaches, and the coach was like, what the hell was that? And I'm like, oh my God, this is the funniest thing ever.
This story might be getting a little crossed up because there was a thing called the win and sprint that we did at the 6-man. And I did do that in a club game against Wave, and the coaches are still mad at me to this day, even though it's like 18 years later, 16 years later. But here's what happened, Beardine. We're down 23-18 in game 1. They're the number 1 team. We're in the quarterfinals of JOs. And we go on a 7-0 run. That was just an absolute miracle. And the last ball is hit angle at us where I'm coaching from their right to our right back. And it's sailing out of bounds. And Mary Carl's, our backup setter, is playing right back, opens up, and the ball comes flying out. And I don't know why I said backup setter. Mary Carl's was one of our setters. She was playing a DS role. She opens up, ball goes flying out. And as that ball's going out, guys, Goose is still standing there like, oh my God, we just won game 1. I'm literally running across and already sitting on their bench before it lands. And it was called the win and sprint. And I just did it because that's what you did to the Sixer. Sometimes miracles and plays happen that are so crazy and comebacks that you just got to go run away from it so it's real. You know what I mean? Like, if you sit there, maybe there'll be a net call. So I just went, and they were like, we thought that was so classless, Peter. That's not like you. And I was like, guys, let's move on. Okay, it's called the win and sprint. I do it at the Sixer. I'm apologizing to you. I'm sorry we smashed you in 2. The great people, but yeah, they were mad at me for years. So I think Sully's putting those 2 stories together.
It was when you guys won the championship. You guys won the championship, and the bench was still pissed at you because that was the only time I actually saw you. Was I stayed there for the finals? That freaking this clipboard went 50 feet in the air. I swear to God, and he sprinted right in front of them. I was dying. I'm like,
I was just having a good time. I think.
Absolutely. Nope, you won it all. You won the whole enchilada. Yeah.
Coaching was a great part of my life, man. It was fun, man.
You still do it a little bit. I got to watch you coach last week.
I had to do it last weekend. I had to come out of retirement for my daughter's team.
Oh, nice.
We're gone, so that was super fun.
I
lathered sweat.
Enjoyed watching that one.
That was so fun.
One thing I know we don't have a lot of time, and we'll get back to talk, but your daughter Millie won a 16 and under gold championship last year at JOs. You've coached in them. You played in them at nationals. You played. How is it being a dad watching your daughter win on something like that?
I'm sure Bear and Sully and Coley, you guys would all agree with me. There was nothing better. It was the most nervous I had ever been. I had Tommy Stillwell with me, who is, you guys know that name. He played middle at UCLA, won a few titles. Taliaferro, his daughter was on the team. Andy Zimmerman, former middle blocker at LMU's daughter's on the team. Brant Sheeler, who played at Stanford. Like, we're all on the same team. So to have that kind of crew, and this was a team that I started to build with Melissa Boyce, Matt Boyce's wife. At 9 years old, our kids started playing together, and we were the coaches. We just put this team together step by step by step. They made the Open for the first time at 14, finished 17th finished 19th, and then at 15s they went 9-0, and then lost the game to get to the top 8 medal round, and then at 16s they won it. So they did it the right way. They took their proper steps, and that moment of her winning was just something like, I don't know, I'll just never forget. I wouldn't trade it for anything, and it was funny. I was making deals with God, everybody, the devil, whoever would listen. That day, parents, all my buddies, because we were drinking between games. I'm like, listen, I'll give every title I ever have but one. Like, let me keep one, but I will trade everything I've ever won for just this. Give my kid this. Yeah. Like, that's how. What's funny is Coley's son Jake was with me during this time. He was there for his girl Kelsey was coaching, recruiting for Tennessee, so he was with me. It was super fun to have him on this ride. It was a magical. They went 11-0.
Wow.
11-0. Yeah.
Wow. That's impressive.
It was pretty special, man. And she was flowing it and went out with a bunch of coaches that night. It was super fun. And her SC coaches were so stoked. You know, at the time, Baby Jesus, Tyler Hill, LeBrand, now he's with St. Mary's. Brad Keller, the head coach, Spencer McLaughlin, Megan Manoa. Her coach is Amir Lugo Rodriguez from Long Beach State. That's her coach. He's now UCLA. He's the best club coach out there. So it's pretty special, guys.
That's awesome. And you guys have a chance again. They just qualified, so
we have a chance again for sure.
See if you can run it back in 17s.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
It's so fun to, you know, we all have kids. Sully's kids crush it in track, and you know where my kids are, and you obviously with Jake and being his godfather and watching through his journey, and it's just to watch your kids do things like that is it's just awesome. I mean, obviously I would give anything to play again, but I'd take watching my kids over anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I gotta tell you, so we got Northridge stories still to come. We still Paul Mitchell stories to come. We've got Lakers. We got AVP.
We do a part 2. We got Kobe. We got all kinds of stuff to talk about.
We're gonna get part 5, part 6.
You guys tell
part
me if we
7.
want to do part 2. We'll run it back.
Yeah, for sure. There's so much more stories out there for sure with you, Geeter.
I know it was fun. I figured we'd get into Lakers and the Kobe, but that means the next one.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
and
you don't want to do 2 full hours. You got to do an hour because people can't. It's hard to hold there.
Yeah, it is.
And then we do another hour. Yeah,
right. And I still think we have 10 hours.
I'm just super happy. I love it. I'm so happy with you guys. I love. You're doing a really nice job, but you're also doing a great job of getting those clips out on social media because that's the key.
Yeah.
You know, you get those clips out, so it's been super fun to listen to all the guys you've had on there, and it's been so. I'm proud of you guys.
Thank you.
It's good for Coley to have passion in something. I'm glad you guys let him hop on your back for the. You listen. We always wanted to be a part of Long Beach State somehow, so we're finally getting something.
Yeah, I got to be part of it somehow. It's amazing. Yeah, it's been so
real
fun
quick,
for us.
I know we got to go. Last year, I hosted an event for Al at Long Beach State.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah,
they had their NIL dinner, and I hosted it. It was so fun, and that team is so amazing. And I went to all the games in the the sandbar for the whole championships and everything. And Al hooked me up, and I just love that program, and root for him all the time. And it was super fun because my opening was all about you guys are probably wondering why a guy from Northridge is here doing this, and I'm like, there's 2 reasons. I said, one, I didn't get into Long Beach State. It was my dream, and I didn't. I had to settle for Northridge, and everyone's cracking up. And I'm like, so I always wanted to be a part of that team. I settled, and I went to the Ridge. And sorry, we beat you in '92. And people are like, I went through the whole thing. And I go, and number 2 is, I would have never played for a national championship if it wasn't for Ray Rattel, your coach. And I said, Coley Kyman was our best player. Coley Kyman did not care about school. Coley Kyman was failing. Coley needed a grade for him to be eligible in 1993. He went to Ray Rattel. Ray Rattel signed off, gave him a credit on some PE class or something, and Coley Kyman was eligible, and we went to the national championship. And I lied. I go, and I told Al Knight and Sully and Bear and all the guys in Schroeder and all the guys at Hilly, all the guys I played with, that one day I will pay you back. I will pay Long Beach State back for that gift that you gave me, because without Coley, we're obviously not doing anything. He would have been ineligible. And so I'm here, and everyone's like, going crazy. It's so funny, dude. It was awesome. Everyone loved it. So,
thanks, Ray.
Thanks, Ray. And thank you,
Long
Long
Beach
Beach
summer
State.
school at Long Beach. I went.
Yeah.
By the way, I did go to summer school at Long Beach State in my career. Well, I paid for summer school at Long Beach.
Yeah,
paid for it, right?
We lied, and we cheated, and it doesn't matter. No one cares. We should have cheated the whole time. Good.
It's unbelievable. Amazing. Well, again, another day at Set the Pipe. Thanks for joining Set the Pipe. Yep. Hit subscribe. We're going to keep bringing you guests like Geet. Geet's coming back for session 2, session 3, and 4 as we keep rolling through, as the Lakers make a huge push to go on to this.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Wow.
So good. You're amazing. You are amazing.
Okay.
Appreciate it, Gator.
All right. Love you guys.